Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. October 17th, 1987 is our episode today. Again, we're heavy on the interviews, so this is going to be a shorter episode. I have a feeling these episodes are going to be shorter because it's almost like it's backdropped personality pieces actually having the wrestling on the show at this point. Cowboy Tony is in your opening match with Sean Simpson. Simpson, of course, the younger of the Simpson brothers, and he's just 18 years old. Fritz von Erich putting him over several weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, regarding how young he is, the importance. He is a light heavyweight. They introduce a light heavyweight championship here. Again, being on ESPN at this point in the journey, I think the light heavyweight championship is introduced to kind of be competitive with the AWA. Of course, they end up promoting the Super Clash pay-per-view in 1988. I think they do have to talk about that a bit because it happens before the end of the year. So I think we will cover that in 1988. But speaking of coverage right now, hip toss and arm drags by Simpson. Simpson, a guy who really, too much too soon for the kid. He does do pretty well over the next couple of years with Global, and I think Gary Hart starts the Texas Wrestling Federation when even before Global's in place or concurrently in the early 90s, and Simpson's a big part of that. But this kid, really does kind of burn out. It's kind of sad to see. Maybe I think the visa thing might have something to do with that as well. Being South African, both Steve and Sean, a little harder to deal with, and international travel and working internationally, a bigger deal than it is now in terms of just the logistics of it all. Anyway, boy Tony tries to take Simpson to the buckle. Simpson reverses and sends him to the buckle instead. There's a lot of just slowing the match down a little bit. Simpson, not a guy who is wasting a lot of motion in there. They do get more out of the match than would be expected. They go about 7-8 minutes, and there is, some interference. Eric Emery does go to town on Steve Simpson, tries to cut his hair, tries to attack him post the win, so they are going to do battle down the road. Then we go to Frankie Lancaster, former tag team champion, against Tony Atlas. Obviously, the idea here is to give Atlas a shine. If you're going on national television, you got to remember this is 1987. Tony was still on WWF television until some point in '86, so he's less than a year off international television, and I think that more than anything is the reason he's brought in here. They have not pushed him like the Mr. USA character of, let's say, 83 through 86, but at the same time, I don't think they need to. They needed name value guys off of WWF TV. That's why they bring the Sheik in. That's why they do a lot of the talent that's here. Anyway, Tony uses his power, wrist locks, arm bars, and the like. It's very clear that the highlights on Tony for this. Tony with a bear hug. Tony is slower than he was in previous years, but you got to remember, too, he's got 11, 12 years in. Not that that's a big deal, but when you're going 11, 12 years, 7 days a week, that's different than being a weekend warrior. It's different than what guys and ladies go through today. So that's part of the challenge there, too. Tony does go to the middle rope on the inside, which is rare. You don't usually see Tony fly, but he hits a headbutt there and actually gets the victory off that second rope headbutt. Then we see Gary Hart talking about the return of Kerry Von Erich, talks about how Kerry is being overblown, talks about how he can't make it through Al Perez, he can't make it through anybody in a deeper way, and that's there. They do make it a pretty big deal that Kerry is returning. They're going to be doing an international, a nationwide tour around this. Gary Hart is unhappy. Gary Hart has his own corner, as Fritz has his own corner. They're really focusing on personality profiles, really focusing on trying to get at least the Von Erichs and the main heels like Al Perez over in that way. Fritz is gushing in the next interview segment about Kerry's return. Kerry mentions being out for several months, then mentions a year and a half. We'd see a video package with Kerry doing everything from chin-ups to lifting weights and all of that. There certainly is a desire for it to look like Kerry's truly ready. Some people say Kerry never recovered. Other people say he did recover, but it wasn't that, it wasn't ever full. Personally, my first exposure to Kerry was in the WWF, and it's sad that he didn't go further. I, as a child, didn't see anything wrong with the way he wrestles, but I also hadn't seen the world class stuff, so my exposure and my idea of him is, that SummerSlam 90, Intercontinental title win, and all of that. I think I would have been disappointed had I seen him prior. Anyway, we go to the main event of the program, because the last two segments are interview heavy. And Kerry Von Erich is at ringside for Kevin versus Brian Adias. Obviously, Adias and Von Erich in general is built up. Kerry does wrestle by the end of the year and has a match with Adias, which is not very good. Kerry does have a lot of ring rust, but again, over a year out of the ring, how do you not? Kevin is dominant in this position. He is daring Adias to get back into the ring. Adias doing a lot of begging off. They almost, I won't say don't want to lock up, but there's definitely several minutes to this match where they go out to the floor, where there's a lot of stalling. They get 3 or 4 minutes out of the first beginning of the match without doing a heck of a lot, and I think that's, you want to take that to the stadium, you want to go further with it. Kevin does take Adias over, hits the, knee drops on the arm and all of that. Really, really basic stuff. Adias does manage to wind up victim of the claw. Also, a lot of punches. Just a lot of back and forth. Kevin goes to work both with the head claw and the stomach claw. Kevin's trying to get as much as he can out of the situation. Interference attempted and cheating attempted. Ted Arsini makes his way out. Kerry is back around in the ring. Kerry is there as a defense. Kerry actually slams Arsini and goes to town on him. So you're really seeing Kerry back in the ring, not officially, but unofficially. Then we see kind of a report on the Iron Sheik. The report basically is to hype the Iron Sheik and his impact on the area. An Iron Sheik promo is not going to be the most intelligible thing. You see him beating up Matt Bourne, and kind of they're setting up Bourne and the Sheik in the stadium, and then they talk about the Von Erich All Over America tour coming to several towns where now that they have international television, it's a bigger deal to come to local towns. I think they tried to build world class too quickly, and it backfires in the end. You're looking at less than a year from here. They are Fritz is out of business with it, so that's kind of where the name continues for another couple of years. But Fritz is done by October, November '88. So it's just an interesting dichotomy there. But anyway, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.